Welcome everybody, good evening. My name's Keith Senior. I'm helping my partner in crime tonight, Johnny Lawless. Sean was supposed to be on this webinar as well, but apologies, he's had a little bit of a slip up and couldn't make it tonight. So I'll be jumping in with Johnny a little bit, and we've got this presentation tonight, which is managing emotion. So I'll pass you over to Johnny and he will deliver the workshop.
Thanks, Keith. Evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us. As Keith said, my name's Johnny Lawless, former rugby league player with Halifax, Sheffield Eagles, Huddersfield Giants. Retired a long time ago. My career played in the first ever Super League game, Sheffield versus Paris. I was lucky enough to get picked for my country, England, in 1996. And I only got picked a couple of times, so I did what every countryman should, proud Englishman should do. I looked in my family tree and found some Irish ancestry, and had a longer career playing for Ireland and played in the 2000 World Cup. And also as a teammate of Keith, we both played in the 1998 Challenge Cup final, beating Wigan against all odds. So love rugby league. I'm a massive advocate for it. Nowadays, I'm a committee member at Cyril Rugby Club, the amateur club from Halifax, where my youngest son plays down there as well. So I love rugby league. Nowadays, I've got a business in the construction industry, which basically installing commercial pipe work. And I also run a mental health awareness training company called Minds Matter. But it hasn't always been, probably like many rugby league players, talking about mental health or mental fitness. I hadn't always been playing sailing. When I retired, I went back to play for my amateur club Cyril for 4 or 5 years, and played with my mates from the amateur days before I signed professional, which I had a great time. And I stopped playing completely when I was about 34, 35. If you rewind back 10 years, it was height of recession, and with the business I was in, we were struggling like a lot of businesses were at the time with cash flow, etc. We had about 40 men working for us, so it was a very tough time. And around that time, 10 years ago, where I lost a close friend to suicide, a lad called Matthew Smith, who played at Cyril Rugby Club, and it was a real bombshell to us as a club and as mates to know why he'd done it, and obviously ask them questions. And mental health really went on our radar. And Matt was a really close friend of mine, and somebody I'd known since I was a very young boy. And another player who also played at Cyril at the time, my lifelong mate, my best mate, another former professional, Mick Shaw, played at Leeds Rhinos. Within 16 months of Matthew taking his life, I then lost my best friend, Mick Shaw, through suicide. Very tough to take, very, very hard thing to grasp. And at that point, what was going on with my life, along with retiring from playing and losing a bit of identity, I found myself in a bit of a dark place. And, you know, for a period of about 6 months, I was in a very low point, with, you know, some dark thoughts which were prevailing. But at that point, I got a blast from past, and I got a phone call from Rugby League Cares, which is the charity where we're here today. We deliver this offload. And Rugby League Cares offered me some counselling through Sporting Chance, which I gladly took. And I spoke to a guy called Colin Bland, who kind of just explained how Matt and Mick might have been feeling at the time, and it made a bit of sense. And about a month after that, I got a phone call to attend a mental health first aid course, a 2-day course, which qualifies to be a mental health first aider, a bit like a physical first aider. And that, to me, was a huge turning point in my life. It learned me how to recognise signs and symptoms in other people, where they might be distress or stuff like looking for signs of depression and anxiety. But it also just, for me, gave me ticking boxes how what I've been doing wrong in my life and how I've been coping and what I've been using to cope with were having a real negative effect. So that got me the path where I am today. Hand on heart, I can honestly say that being mentally aware now and looking into self-help and looking after my mental health has been a life changer for me. It really has. So all these little workshops we're doing through Offload, tonight we're looking at managing emotions. It's been they're just little tools and tricks to try and keep us mentally fit. I'll just bring Keith quickly back in. Keith, these things what we've been doing, we truly believe in him. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, we spoke about this quite a lot from the start of these workshops, that as rugby players, that is our way of dealing and coping with issues that arise and problems that arise. And I spoke a while back on one of the first workshops about being a little bit selfish as an individual and not really focusing too much on the emotional aspect of what was away from rugby, which was my life, which was my partner, which was all the things that everybody else deals with. So actually managing emotions, which this workshop's about, is something that I struggled with when I retired, because I never really accepted my emotions, always tried to hide them, never really could control them, never really had to control them because of the rugby element. And then when that wasn't there anymore, all of a sudden in the real wide world, dealing with emotions is quite scary. And I am quite an emotional type of guy in a way. I cry at all Disney films, that type of thing. I show me emotions in that way, you know. So
I think you agree with Keith. I think rugby league is an emotional game, isn't it? And it develops a lot of emotional characters. And it's fair to say, and we're going to see some examples later on, emotions are very difficult to control, but like this workshop's about, it's going to give us hints and tips on how we can deal with them and cope with them, and not let them affect us in a negative way. But you're going to find out we've all got them, and it's just you have to deal with them, really.
That's one of the things about emotions, though, Johnny, isn't it? That's interesting, is that you can control them, but they happen. You can't control them happening. You know, they do happen. You can't control them actually happening. So it's when you realise that they're coming, that's when it's the case of that you need to take hold of the control side of it.
It's that recognition of them coming and then being able to, suppress yourself so it's not having a negative impact on you.
Yeah.
We will, guys. There's only a few of us on tonight, but we would love your interaction, whether that's through the chat or I don't know because there's a few, will be able to unmute yourself if you want to ask a question. So blast the questions away on chat, and there's a few things where I'll be asking you for an answer and opinion on. So please do interact. Also, before we move on to the next slide, there is a QR code at the end of the session. If you've got a smartphone, if you could take that and quickly answer a questionnaire, because all this helps for Rugby League Cares to be able to deliver these offload sessions for free and when they're open to anyone. So your input on that will really help. So looking at what we're going to cover today, it's we're going to discuss what are emotions, identifying positive and negative emotions, how we experience them, and that we all experience emotions differently. The 5 steps of dealing with emotions, and a bit of a team talk and a recap. I'm not sure if anyone's attended an offload session before, but I think it's a fantastic concept, and I hope it opens your eyes to maybe attending some more in future in the new year when we're going to roll off the new ones early next year. So moving on, Keith. Just a quick one, because myself and Keith, we've already divulged some personal information. Bit of a team ethic. If you're involved in a rugby team, what we say, what happens at offload stays at offload. But if we do discuss them, if you do disclose somewhere we think you might be at harm or somebody else might be at harm, we might have to escalate that. And we've got Wendy on the hand from Rugby League Cares as well, if you need to chat to her or maybe get in touch with us after. I'll ask a question, get you typing early. What emotions can you think of? Is any what spring to mind? What you come off top of? What emotions can you think of? What we've got? I'll just give you a 30 seconds if you're all still a bit shy on the time. Happiness, yeah, that's it, Ben. That's definitely one. Frustration, yeah, fantastic. So just tell us along if you want to go to next slide, Keith. So we're saying what are emotions? They can be defined as a positive or a negative state of being, and they do play an important role in how we think and behave. Our emotions can be short-lived, so it's just going to be a split second, or they can be lingering or long-lasting, or such as enduring sadness over the loss of a relationship or bereavement. But why exactly do we experience emotions, and what role do they serve? Sometimes they're difficult to control, or they're out of proportion for a situation. I'm just going to change my thing here so you can see that. So look, we've got two sets of emotions here, and there are many more, but the other ones will probably fall under some of these at some point. So the negative ones we're talking about is regret, hate, fear, anger, shame, guilt, and sadness. And looking at the positive ones is love, joy, pride, empathy, hope, and happiness. So, like we said then, the ones you come up with will fall under some of those categories somewhere along the line. Moving on, Keith, we're just going to look at what are emotions and what they're made up of. So they're made up of three key components, which is a subjective component, which is how we experience the emotion, a physiological component, which is how our bodies react to the emotion, an expressive component, how we behave in response to that emotion. These different elements can play a role in the function and purpose of our emotion responses. If we take anger, for example, if we experience anger, we'll all experience anger on a different level. So that might be just, you might be annoyed. Someone might be annoyed that another person might be mad. Another person might be raging, and it could be over the same situation. Our bodies might react to that. That could be a fast heartbeat, a bit of anxiety, and we could behave. The reaction, how we behave in response to that emotion of anger could be you want to shout at somebody, you want people. I've seen many people, especially on building sites, when they get something wrong, they kick something or throw something, or even, as we're going to see on a couple of clips later on, even punch somebody out of anger. So we all react differently, and we all in sometimes in a positive way and sometimes in a negative way, but we've all got them. And moving on, looking at their purposes and why we have them. There's 8 basic emotions and the purpose of each. Anger, which is to fight against the problem. Anticipation, to look forward and plan. There's joy, and that's to remind us what's important in life. Trust, to connect with fear who help. To connect with people who help. And fear, to protect us from danger. Surprise, to focus on new situations. Sadness, to connect with those that we love. And disgust, to reject what is unhealthy. They help us survive, thrive, and avoid danger. Basically, we need emotions to guide us through life. When we are angry, we're likely to confront the source of our irritation. When we experience fear, we are more likely to flee the situation or threat. That's like fight or flight. And when we feel love, we might seek out a mate and reproduce, if we're lucky. And emotions serve an adaptive role in our lives by motivating us to act quickly and take actions that will maximise our chances for success. So they're important. They're an important part of our life to guide us through where we want to get to, and remind us of things as well, like the connect with trust and the joy to remind what's important in life. So we need these emotions, and we need to recognise and use them in the most beneficial way we possibly can. So I'm just going to go look at some clips now on the next slide, please, Keith. And we want to just, if we can just watch the clip, the first one, and maybe we'll just have a little discussion and think about what emotions these sports stars were going through in the following clip. So think of the emotions we just spoke about. We'll look at the first clip and we'll have a little talk about it after.
Just going to say there, as the clip's playing, if you want to start typing emotions in, so you might feel different types of emotions. So as it's playing, type in what emotion you're feeling at that exact time.
The stars of the past, the star of the future there in Jack Walker, but I think everything else comes to a halt now. Bill, and Rob Burrow enters the field. 5 minutes to go. Myler salutes him. Burrow, hero of Headingley, hero of the hour. What a man. What a wonderful picture. What a wonderful, wonderful picture. And the roof of Emerald Headingley Stadium has come off. You could see the emotion writ large all over Rob Burrow's face. Well done, young man.
You just told that there, Keith. Yeah, so we've covered a few emotions there. Joy, different mark, and pride and sad. I think these are different. We're looking at Rob Burrow there, and maybe how Rob felt. There's also his teammates with different emotions, and there's also the crowd with different emotions. I think we'll all agree that is a very emotional game that for Rob with what he's what has gone through this last 12 months with his MND diagnosis. So it fills you up in a lot of different ways. Definitely pride and joy and sadness, a mixture of a lot of emotions. Keith, you're very close to Rob, obviously former teammate, and I know you're doing a lot of help now with his fight against MND. That day, how were you feeling there?
Sorry about this technology.
Yeah, I think it does this for some reason.
Yeah, I class myself as being very lucky to have actually played in that game as well, and I got to find out about Rob with his diagnosis with MND before it got made public. And I meet up with Rob. He just lives down the road from me, so I found out a little bit before everybody else, and we were meeting up for coffee. And I remember having a chat with him when he wasn't 100% sure what the problem was, and he apologised to me about the way how he was slurring his speech, and he was putting it down to stress because he was moving house, and it was, you know, there was a job position that were changing, so there was a lot happening at the moment. And then when he got the MND diagnosis, you can imagine it hit a lot of people like a ton of bricks, and I think a lot of people came up with the empathy and thinking about his family as well. You know, his kids. He's got 3 young kids. His wife, who was his childhood sweetheart, and you know, and his family as well. You know, so that game was Jamie Jones's testimonial. He decided to make it all about Rob Burrow as well. And I think with a crowd, it just showed the rugby family coming together. And I think that's where the pride comes into it. The pride aspect, that everybody came, they joined in, they showed their appreciation of Rob's career, and possibly maybe the sympathetic side and the empathy side as well. You know, but for me personally, it was a massive sense of pride, and all the games that I've played in, I've been very fortunate to play in some big games. That was probably one of the biggest games that I've ever played in, and it you know, you remember it for all the right and the wrong reasons. You know, the occasion is the wrong reason why it's happened, but you know, the right reasons, all the support that everybody showed, and the love that was shown for Rob Burrow. So it was a roller coaster of emotions was that day.
I think, you know, obviously, me as a rugby league fan, I watched that, and I could watch that a million times and still well up every time, because it gets you mixed emotions. And one of them, I'm really proud of our sport watching that. I'm proud for Rob and the turnout he's got. I'm sad for Rob for the situation it is, and I'm proud of you guys as teammates, how you've come together and how you've supported him. So yeah, fantastic way to express emotions. I think that can get anybody. Like I say, I could watch that a million times and still get the same emotions. Yeah, so we'll move on to the next clip if that's okay, Keith.
It's quite interesting that we're talking about emotions. And the first time I remember I did this presentation, I knew it was coming and I was ready for it, but because I'd not really focused that much on it as the first time I'd watched it prior, and then I watched it actually on the presentation, and all of a sudden it just sort of like hit me like a ton of bricks, and everything just happened again. And everything just flooded back, and I'm trying to hold back the tears, delivering the session, you know. So this is a way that I've had to manage it, you know. Watched it before we came on tonight, and set myself and already been through them emotions, and been prepared for them a little bit better.
I think that what you say there, you're preparing for your emotions because you know it's going to make you emotional, and you're already preparing for that. And we also spoke about where there's situations where in past when we've reacted because we weren't preparing for them, and we've just gone like that, and it's probably been a negative reaction. The physiology, like the way we behave, has been negative because we haven't prepared ourselves, which we'll talk about. We'll get on to the next clip, this clip here, which is the Ben Flower gets sent off after punching poor Lance.
I say there's going to be quite a few typing emotions on this one.
Yeah. So there's also, while you're watching, there's emotions of Lance, Ben Flower, the crowd, the opposite players, the Wigan players, the Saints players. Type away if you can come up with some. Yeah. Under shot confusion.
St. Helens took exception to it and flew in. Was it Ben Flower? Well, not to hire, hasn't moved. He's still now being treated by two physios and a doctor. There's Ben Flower here. Keep an eye on that. That's a red card. That's a red card.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, good answers there. I think we initially got the anger from Ben Flower. Obviously, he's come out pumped up, and he's done that. Then you've also got the anger from the Saints players, especially after seeing that, and they want a reaction from the referee. You've got the anger from the crowd, and then you've got the joy of the crowd when he does get sent off, and the relief of the Saints players when he gets sent off. The regret, which somebody typed up, of Ben when he's realised what he's done, and the confusion, thinking, what's going on? This is unbelievable. You know, after second minute in game, and this has happened. A lot of confusion, and the shock from everybody watching, players. You know, this hasn't been planned. This is basically a great example of somebody not being able to control their emotions. So yeah, that's a good answer to that. Do you want to talk to that, Keith?
Yeah, that's in a range of emotions. It's got everything answered, you know, for the shock that it's happened, the worry about what's going to happen next for the team. You know, Wigan players all of a sudden will be going, oh wow, we're a man down. So then they'll be trying to G everybody up. The Saints players, you could see from Paul Wellens there, really, really angry. So he wasn't controlling them emotions, that side of it all. But that's the element. The Ben Flower reaction is the one that we need to make sure that we recognise when it does happen. So in a game situation, it doesn't do that again. And I think hindsight's a wonderful thing. After reviewing, you know, after that's happened, he'll probably be in the situation now where he looks at managing his emotions a little bit more.
Yeah. And I don't think Lance Arrow played again after that, did he?
No.
That's right. Right, the next clip, this is the 2019 when England won the Cricket World Cup after the famous Super Over. Again, there'll be different emotions from different aspects of players, crowd, people watching on TV. So just type away, guys, if you would like to interact.
It's a freebie for New Zealand. Ball number one again. Perfect Yorker. They've got to get two. Gupton will get back. He's quick enough. He's got it. It's huge. It's gone. It's out of the park. Here's Archer again. Neesham gets him again. Will they go for two?
Bloody hell.
Is that...
A wide. It is a... England have won the World Cup.
It just looks on itself.
It's like watching my granddad trying to use a mobile phone.
I need to manage my emotions till I'm getting angry with this thing.
Yeah, he's amazing. Anger, amazing. This guys, I think we've all seen it. Unbelievable how it panned out. And as an armchair supporter, it was a fantastic day. And you look at everyone, the jubilation there of the England players, but then you've got the commiserations and the ecstatic, how ecstatic the England players are. Then they've got the opposing players who were, he's gone. They were so close, on the knees, exhausted, emotionally, physically, and joy, happiness for the England camp and the supporters and the crowd. A great example there, mixed emotions for both ways, how it affects us. And you'll have played in many, I know you've played in many finals, Keith, and there's a winner and a loser. You're two polar opposite ends of the spectrum, aren't you? The winners absolutely on cloud nine, and the losers, well, some of them probably wish they never got to the final and lost rather than go there. So,
yeah. So we'll bring up. You spoke about playing for Ireland in the 2000 World Cup. So we can talk about your emotions when England knocked you out in quarterfinals.
I thought it's not too bad because we can go and drink a load of Guinness before these lads have to prepare for next week's game. But Keith, actually, I've got an example here, which past 1998 when we were lucky enough to win the Challenge Cup. We played Castleford at Castleford in the quarter-final. I was supposed to play, but I got injured on a 10-pin ball in the night before to pull out with a bad back, and we had to drag one of the players out of the pub to play instead, which he did a great job. Infamous now, Keith. We obviously won it because we went on to get to the final. Infamous for you losing your emotion and not controlling emotions and throwing a punch and knocking down Barry John Mather, the Castleford centre. So come on then, tell us what happened.
Challenge Cup quarter final, like you say, it's my infamous moment. That was my 10 minutes of fame, not for the right reasons. Barry John Mather had just scored a try, so then Darren Turner came in and made the tackle, went in with his knees a little bit grubby. Then Dean Sampson came in with a little bit of a push and shove with Darren Turner, so I was arguing with him a little bit. And then in the corner of my eye, because the emotions had started building up with a little bit of frustration, because I was arguing with Dean Sampson, I just sees Barry John Mather coming at me at the corner of my eye, and then ended up just throwing a punch, which I still claim was self-defence, because he came towards me in a threatening manner. But because of the situation, Cass ended up coming back into the game and the emotions that were involved. I was arguing with Dean Sampson at the time, so as you can imagine, we were a little bit heads up. So the first thing for me to do was just react without even thinking about it. So, but then when it had happened, it was a case of getting my thoughts back together and thinking, oh wow, what have I done? And the regret side of it then came, because I thought there was a big chance this was live on BBC as well, national TV. Yeah. So I was thinking there's a big possibility that I could get sent off here. So then it was a case of, I've let my teammates down. There's a chance we might not get to the semi-final because we'd spoke up that year about the Challenge Cup being our year. We were focusing on that massively as a club at Sheffield. So very fortunate because I ended up staying on and then scoring 2 tries to win the game. So then the elation side of it came again.
Luckily you got the reprieve, unbelievably as well in hindsight, wasn't it really?
Yeah.
It all worked out for best in the end. So that's one of the times when, somebody else losing, their emotions, but we know many players and who will setting up field to rub each opposition players up, in particular the bit wind-up merchants or pantomime villains. I'm sure you've played against a few and with a few. You might want to name a couple, but can you remember a time as well when you were getting that treatment from an opposing player? You had to suppress your emotions, knowing that he's trying to get me sent off or do something I don't want to do.
Yeah, I always had a few with Leon Price. He was a little bit of a grub on the pitch. But for us on our side, we used to always have the pantomime villain, which was Ryan Bailey. He wound up a load of people, which in a way for us it was good because he ended up winning us a lot of penalties because people were getting so frustrated with him and angry with him because of how he played the game. So on a positive side, it was great for us as a Leeds team, but it did get under a few people's skins. And I remember thinking after when I retired, watching Carl Ablett play after I'd retired, and Carl Ablett was an absolute grub. It was shocking. I'd never noticed on the pitch, but watching him, he always used to get under people's skins.
You do need them players, don't you? You do need them. But when you're on the receiving end of it, it's not a good place to be, is it?
No.
It's a very easy place to lose your emotion. And I think players nowadays are even more aware of it and more astute with it. So not back in there, they did react. So that's why they were probably a lot more brawling back in
Yeah, you love the sledging part of it and the
yeah.
trying to wind each other up. I used to love that side of it. I was normally quite good at keeping me calm with that and keeping focused because I enjoyed it more than got frustrated with it.
Yeah.
But you know, some people were ruthless with it.
Yeah, yeah, to another level. Right, moving on with a little bit of activity here. So again, I want your interaction if possible. And what we're looking at is that we all experience emotions differently. The way we experience emotions can be determined by our current mindset. Our mindset, actually, the way we think can be changed and be made better by asking ourselves better questions. We're going to look at the following set of 6 statements, and if you just type in what emotion you would experience on that certain situation. So they're pretty simple, they're pretty straightforward, everyday occurrences. In fact, the first one is for me, actually. I had one recently. If you want to move to the first slide, please, Keith.
Yeah, I'm going to say, so visualize. Use your visualization powers here, everybody. So imagine you're in the moment of this happening. First reaction, what comes into your head, get it typed down. I'll try and move these slides on so it doesn't start moving on too much.
Yeah. Parking fine. You've just received a £150 fine for returning back to your car 10 minutes late. I'm even going to type this myself.
Johnny, we've got to get off at 8 o'clock.
Yeah. So, me, I'm gutted, angry. I'm well pissed off. I'm well angry. Just I've got to give the £150 away for the big thing. Yeah. Probably similar emotions there. Next situation, Keith. Urgent deadline. Your boss wants you to deliver a presentation at work within an hour's notice. Now, for some people, this is, stress straight away, anxiety. But I think the flip side to this is that some people would actually go, fantastic, what an opportunity this is. Yes, for Mark, they're excited by the challenge. So just to show, same situation, and we're all there between us, we're all different reaction. And that's kind of explaining exactly what your answers there, guys, are explaining what we're talking about. We've all got emotions, and we all deal with it differently. And there's no wrong or right answers. So that's great. Thanks for interaction there. Next one, Keith. Accidental spill. You feel positive about making changes to your home and start doing DIY. You open the paint tin and spill it over your new carpet.
You're the type Yorkshireman devastated.
Yeah, and I think Ben, yeah, exactly, new carpet. Well, you cut a bit out and put some on, put a rug over it. Ben, you've got funny there, and I think that as well, because there is situations in life where I have a little all these offloads are about giving you little tools and tricks. There's one I've used in past when if I feel stressed and I'm getting worked up. There's a Laurel and Hardy clip I watch on YouTube. That's about 5 minutes, and they don't say up. They just laugh and they're giggling, and it makes me laugh and giggle. Embarrassed, gutted, yeah. So different reactions again to the same situation. Thanks for your answers. Next one. Oh, Philip, do you want to say something? Best man. Your best friend's asked you to be his best man at his wedding. I've had this, and I were excited and anxious as well. Pride, yeah. But some people, it can really spoil the day because they do get really worked up. The anxiety, it kicks in, and it's sometimes a big burden for a lot of people. Yeah, nervous, excited. Yeah. Keith, next one, please. Forgetful shop.
This is you and I every shop, this, Johnny.
Yeah, you have just put away all your shopping and you realise you have forgotten the milk. Me, I'd be quite happy because I'd have to go out again, and it gets me out of the house. I hope she can't hear that. She's only next room.
I'm total opposite. I don't want to go out.
What me and Keith were annoyed and gutted. We're on about the forgetful now, where we struggle remembering things. So it definitely kicks in. But yeah, not bothered. That is a reaction. It's only milk. You know, it's not end up world. So for some people, it's a major thing, and they will get stressed about it. So again, it's about managing and looking after your emotions and not letting them get bigger than what they should be, get the situation bigger than what it should be. And what's next, Keith? I think this is the last one. So close. Your rugby team gets to the Challenge Cup final, loses by 2 points. So you've probably got mixed emotions of that day. You've got the excitement of getting there and having a good weekend down at Wembley. The anxiety whether you're going to win or you're going to lose, and then obviously the sadness, the letting down, the gutted of not winning. A mixture of emotions, but then again, that is the beauty of a final and the sport of rugby league. That can happen. There's got to be a winner. Some pride later, yeah, because your team got there. So after you've got over that emotion, that initial sadness and that reaction of that, you can say, well, I'm proud that they actually got there. So yeah, fantastic that.
I've been in this exact scenario, Johnny, and I still cry myself to sleep every night over it.
Which one?
Losing the Challenge Cup final with 2 points.
Well, you can't win them all, Keith, can you? I've got 100% record in Challenge Cup finals. So what we're looking at next then is how can we deal with these emotions? You know, that's the important thing. So there's a couple of tips here what we can say to how we can deal with them. First of all, accept the emotion. Become aware of your emotion and accept your current experience. And let's stick a label on that emotion, because we know we're going to have these emotions. Let's box it and let's label it. This is anger. This is anxiety. Thinking to yourself that it's just an emotion, and I've got emotions because I'm human. We all have emotions. So label it up, and that kind of puts in the normality of having that experience that, yeah, I've got every right to be angry. The situation made me angry. I am angry, and it'll pass, and the emotion will fade away. But that's the beauty of it. It's accepting it and labeling it and letting it pass and letting it move on. But it's perfectly normal to have it. And that emotions aren't permanent. They will pass. Even when it feels overwhelming, that famous old saying, this too shall pass. It will. Experience shows it moves on, and the quicker we can accept it, label it, the quicker it probably will move on, and it won't stay as a permanent fixture. And then ask yourself and investigate what's triggered that emotion. What can I learn from it, and what could I do differently in the future if it happens again? If that emotion is having a negative effect or it's lingering, what's brought it on, and what could you do differently? How could you react differently? And that's going to help you when which probably will happen again. That situation might do. So what can you do differently? So investigate a little bit, and let go of the need to control your emotions. Don't try to control it. Let it happen. And it's easy for me to say now, but like Keith said, I really struggled with my emotions in past. Still sometimes do. It's not going to be perfect, but I do realise that they're just an emotion. We all have them, and they move on. They move about and they'll pass. So accept, label the emotion. They're not permanent, and investigate. Let's find out why. And just a bit of a recap. Next slide, please, Keith. Just kind of what we've spoke about this last 45 minutes to an hour. Emotions, they can be both positive and negative. They can help us survive, thrive, and avoid danger. We need them. They can help us make decisions, understand others, and allow others to understand us. We all experience emotions differently depending on our current mindset. And just a little saying there, you can't control the waves, but you can learn to surf. Let's accept them emotions. They're going to happen, but there's that old saying as well, you can trust your emotions, go on them, trust your instincts. So they're an important part of our lives, guys, and the more we can accept them, the less negative impact they'll definitely have. And we'd just like to show you the next page, which is the support, if needs be. There's 3 charities there: the Samaritans, Calm, and Hub of Hope. If you are struggling, the Samaritans there, they're all open 24/7. And even if with these guys, what I'm saying is, even if it's not you struggling, you're worried about somebody else, you can still call these guys up and get some advice to pass on to somebody else. And we've also got Rugby League Cares as well, but that's not open 24 hours. And like I'll let Keith add in before we'll say goodbye. But I'd like to thank you all for listening to us tonight. There's the very important QR code coming up if you could fill that out. It's been a pleasure being here. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll pass you back to Keith.
Cheers, thank you, Johnny. This is the last one before Christmas. We've been doing these for 6 weeks now, so for everyone that you've been on, I hope you've enjoyed them. I hope you've got something from them, even if it's just one light bulb moment that can help you along the way. Then it's been beneficial. So on behalf of all the presenters that we've had on the offload, again, look at the QR code. Wendy's also putting it in the chat function. If it's possible, it's literally 5 questions, which would benefit us massively. So like I said, on behalf of myself and the Rugby League Cares team, everybody that's been involved in the offload, I'd like to thank you for joining us, coming on tonight, and most of all, have a very, very nice Christmas in the next few weeks. Johnny, anything else to add? Wendy, thank you very much.
No, guys, just encourage. I think you spoke about next year's offloads, Keith. They're getting revised and buffed up and made even improved, hopefully. Get on them. You know, it's a really great hour a week you can spend, and it's getting these tools in your toolbox to cope with them bumps in the road where they inevitably will come. So yeah, jump on the next ones. It'd be great to have you on board for that. And have a Merry Christmas and a prosperous 2021.
Yeah, just to repeat what Johnny said, yeah, these are being expanded. These are face-to-face deliveries normally, so they're a little bit easier to deliver on virtual. It's hard to do the interaction and get the conversation flowing. So they're all being refreshed, they're all being rewritten.
You want to just say which ones they are, Keith? What there's the
Featherstone, Leeds, Widnes.
No, what we talk about. So there's managing emotions. There's resilience and life balance.
I've got to say, Johnny, you've put me on the spot here. We've got a mindfulness session, which we had here as well. Resilience, like you said.
What is mental fitness?
Yeah, that's the first one. We're not prepared for this, are we, Johnny?
No, but that'll give them a little bit of homework to do, to look into it. Follow Rugby League Cares and sure they'll find it on there.
Yeah, and it'd be great to see you face to face where we can have a little bit of a chat as well and form that relationship, which is delivered by ex and current professional rugby league players. So it's a whole host of different opinions, different experiences, you know, and it is life experience as well. So hopefully it is relatable to everybody. Thank you, everybody. It's been a pleasure. See you all next year and have a great Christmas and New Year.
Thank you. Bye.